Welcome back. We're going to now take a look at the Western Conference. As everyone knows, the West is probably the toughest conference in the NBA and all the professional sports, maybe. And I think this year you may have to win 50 to get in, just like the 09-010 season. So this time I'm going to start with you, Thomas. Who are your teams to look forward to in the West, 8 through 1?
Okay, well, like everyone said, I think the West is definitely going to be very competitive this year. There's a lot of teams who could make that jump. I actually want to start with Byron. I want to start with some honorable mentions, actually. I want to shout out to the Phoenix Suns. I think they'll be very, very competitive, but I think might be a player away still. Denver Nuggets as well. I think very, very competitive, getting a lot of players back, but not quite there. But to my list. At number 8, I actually have the Houston Rockets. I think honestly losing Chandler Parsons was a big loss. Loss of Sheik as well. Really didn't gain too much. Trevor Ariza is a good, solid pickup, but I don't think he's going to give you as much support as you needed with Chandler Parsons. So I think they're a star away. Number 7, surprise team, the New Orleans Pelicans. I think they're making a lot of strides this year. I think last year they had a lot of injuries. Drew Holiday went down. Eric Gordon always getting hurt. Tyreek Evans. But I think adding a Sheik this year to help out Anthony Davis, who can play the 4, so he gets to stay away from those centers, stay a lot more healthier. So I think they might make a big step. At number 6, I have the Portland Trailblazers right now. I think they added some depth to their bench in Steve Blake, Chris Kaman, some nice solid pickups. I think they'll stay around that range. Be very competitive. Number 5, I had the Golden State Warriors. I think Steve Kerr coming in, implementing the triangle over there is going to be very good for those shooters. Splash Bros definitely going to eat. I like what we're doing this year, bringing Andre Iguodala off the bench, starting Harrison Barnes. I think gives some nice versatility there. At number 4, I have the Dallas Mavericks. I'm really high on the Mavericks. I think they had a solid team last year. Getting the Chandler brothers, Chandler Parsons and Tyson Chandler, to the team this year was definitely a great pickup. Helps with the character and definitely a lot of intangibles. So it takes a lot of pressure off Dirk and Monty Ellis having Chandler Parsons there. Someone else create their own shot. Like I said, they took the Spurs to the most competitive series. Was it 7 last year?
7 games.
And
Almost beat them.
almost beat them. So I think only adding is going to make them even better. Number 3, I have the Thunder. I think definitely with KD being out, maybe have a little slow start. I think Westbrook will be able to maintain them. But I think definitely a 3 seed, but watch out for this Thunder. If they get hot in the playoffs, anything can happen. Number 2, I have the Clips. I know a lot of people are very high on the Clippers. I think definitely they can make big strides this year. Spencer Hall's really great, good, solid pickup. Goes under the radar. Jordan Farmar. And number 1, I have the Spurs. I just think the Spurs, they read up on everybody. Resign all their key pieces. You know you're healthy. Kyle Anderson's a very good, solid pickup. Also, other side, the coaching staff. Pop picked up a couple of other coaches on there as well. I think the Spurs have what it takes. Definitely might rest some players here in the season, but I think in the day they'll get it done and win the West again.
Thanks, Thomas. Derek?
Well, I was torn on the 8 seed between the Grizzlies and the Suns, but I'm going to go with Memphis just off of the simple fact that they're Memphis. They get it every year. So Phoenix will be just outside the playoffs. Memphis will be the 8 seed. At number 7, I'll take Dallas. The Mavs are back. They got Tyson Chandler. They got Chandler Parsons. The 2 Chandler people involved in Dallas should help them take strides this year. At number 6, I have the Portland Trailblazers. Damian Lillard should take some steps forward this year after not quite making the FIBA World Championship roster. It was unfortunate for him. LaMarcus Aldridge is probably the second best power forward in basketball. That's a love, if not better. Number 5, I have the Splash Bros, Steph and Clay. I think that backcourt, the way they shoot the ball, is unmatched. Andre Iguodala coming in, as well as Draymond Green. They have probably a 9-10 guy rotation out there. So, I think Steve Kerr has good talent to work with in his first year coaching. For number 4, I have the Houston Rockets. James Harden, Dwight Howard. They did lose Chandler Parsons, but they picked up Trevor Ariza. So I feel like the loss is not that big of a deal because Trevor Ariza is a rangy. He's lanky, he's long, he can defend multiple positions. And I think that will help offset the defensive deficiencies known by James Harden. So we'll just keep it respectful there. Number 3, I have the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think they'll get out to a kind of a shaky start without Kevin Durant. He'll be out till December. So without that, somebody Russell Westbrook is his team. We're going to see what they're made of, but I still think they'll finish in the top 3. Number 2, I'll pick the San Antonio Spurs. Now, we all know seed doesn't matter with San Antonio. They can just beat people in 7 when it counts. So we'll see when the playoffs come if they stay number 2 in the West. But regular season goes, I think they're number 2. And number 1, I have the Los Angeles Clippers. I think this is the year that they'll finally take that step. This is the second year under Doc Rivers. DeAndre Jordan progressed last year. I expect him to take another step forward. Blake Griffin was a top 5 NBA player last year. So I think he can progress and continue developing his game. Chris Paul is the best point guard still in the NBA. So I think if they can get that wing player position, the 2 and 3 figured out, Jamal Crawford's going to bring something off the bench. They're going to be the top. They're going to have the best record in the Western Conference.
All right, Chris. What do you think?
So just to show you how deep the West is, I'm actually looking at my list right now, and I left the Rockets off. So I had the Suns at 8, but I'm unfortunately going to have to bump the Suns out. I would love to see the Suns in it. I think their backcourt depth is the best in the league. It's one of the best backcourts, but their just down low presence isn't good enough. So I'll leave the Suns out, and I'll put the Rockets in at 8. Losing Chandler Parsons I thought was pretty big. I think he was a key contributor there. I thought he was a key scorer to take some pressure off of Harden and Jeremy Lin at times, but they got Trevor Ariza, like you said, so I put him at 8. I have the Mavericks at 7. I think that's going to be a small step forward for them because they were the 8 seed last year. Picking up Chandler Parsons was a big signing for them, so I'll put them at 7. 6, I have the Warriors. I love this Warriors basketball team, but the West is just so deep, it's hard to find a spot for them anywhere higher for me because I love my number 5 team, the Memphis Grizzlies, even more. When you come to the grindhouse, you're going to get worn down a ton.
Appropriate name, right?
Exactly. They just wear you down. And I have a surprise for you guys later, but we'll get to that later. Number 4, the Blazers. The depth of this team still isn't quite good enough for them to take that next leap into the top 3 with the Spurs, Clippers, and Thunder. So I leave them at 4, but they are a very competitive team. Like we said, Damian Lillard's going to get better. LaMarcus Aldridge is going to continue to be a stud. 3, I have the Thunder, great team, but just losing Kevin Durant for the first couple months is going to hurt them as far as the regular season goes. 2, I have the Clippers. They would be 3, but they're going to jump. They're going to be ahead of the Thunder enough. But again, second year under Doc Rivers, DeAndre Jordan's going to keep progressing. Blake Griffin, I don't know if he'll be a top 5 player this year, but he's established himself as a star in this league. Chris Paul, the best point guard. Jamal Crawford, they've got it everywhere. Number 1, the Spurs. They're a machine. They just keep winning. Even when they rest guys, they go in and win. So I'll put the Spurs at 1. But the West is just so crazy. I think anything could happen. But I think one thing's for certain is Spurs, Clippers, and Thunder will be the top 3.
All right, Spencer.
Well, like Byron said, I think you're going to have to win 50 to get in the Western Conference playoffs. I have Phoenix at 8. I feel like backcourt depth is really their strong point, and their sleeper on the team is T.J. Warren. If he could come in and produce right away, him and Jalen Green would provide athleticism on the wings, which they really need. At 7, I have Portland. Damian Lillard and L.A. are probably one of the top 3 duos in the NBA. But I just feel like their bench is not quite there yet, and they're going to take a step back. At 6, I have Dallas. I really just think Dallas has a lot of veterans. Dirk, he's taking less money to bring in people to help him. Mark Cuban, he's doing everything to bring another championship to Dallas.
Yep.
At 5, I have Houston. James Harden, Dwight Howard. I just feel like them 2 alone can get the Houston at a solid seed. And then when we get to playoff time, we have to see if they take the next step as a duo. If they want to be like Shaq and Kobe, James Harden's going to have to play defense. He has worked on his defense, I'm hearing, in the offseason, so we have to wait and see. At 4, I have Golden State. Splash Bros. Harrison Barnes, UNC grad, Well, he was only there for 1 year, but, he went back and got his degree. And I have OKC at 3. Only reason OKC is at 3 is because the first 2 months, Kevin Durant won't be there. But I think Russell Westbrook will average around 30 points in those first 2 months.
He's going to love it.
He's going to love it.
It's my time to shine.
At 2, I got the Spurs. They're just the Spurs. Popovich, Tony Parker. Kawhi took a huge leap and bound to becoming a star in this league. And at number 1, who I have winning 66 games this year, are the LA Clippers.
One more than the Cavs, right?
One more than the Cavs. Doc Rivers, Chris Paul, Blake Griffin. And with Spencer Hall's pickup, it provides someone they can put in the game in the fourth quarter and put DeAndre on the bench because, he can't shoot free throws. Right. And when they're in a close game, that's the first thing, hack of DeAndre. And I just feel like the Clippers will go and they will have a great season.
I'm sorry, I never thought I would see the day when we predict the Clippers to win 60.
Yeah. The LA is now a Clippers town.
Lord,
it's just a simple fact of what it is, Darren.
As a lifelong Laker fan, my heart is just broken about this.
Real quick, Lakers. I didn't know if anybody touched on it. How many wins?
The Lakers will finish with about 38 wins. 38 wins.
How many?
I was going to say 35.
33 wins.
40-42.
Just real quick, you have to throw the Lakers in now. I mean, box office.
We gotta
Just
talk
about
about
LA.
Kobe.
Gotta talk about. Will Kobe be back? You think Kobe will be back?
Kobe's gonna average 25.
Yeah, Kobe. Yeah, he's Kobe.
Kobe's he's gonna average about, I hate to say it, but around 24
I'll
points.
say 24.
Yeah, before the Achilles, he was balling out
Mhm.
and came back a little bit too early. Then got hurt
27.
again.
I'll be surprised if he passes,
6
too.
assists, Yeah.
He's going to be passing, too.
Yeah.
People upset him when they say
Great.
Nash is done for the year, but I think that's probably more of a positive than that.
And Nick Young will be back at some point. We don't know when, but
So
he is
Jeremy
back.
Lin show now.
Right. But real quick,
Insanity.
honorable mention again, talk about the 50 wins. These teams may not make it, but they may win 50 games. Denver Nuggets. You know, we talked about Brian Shaw last year. Got guys that played hard under him, even with the injuries to Ty Lawson and JaVale McGee. Helped for the whole year. He may be on Shaqtin' Fool a lot, but he will help out this team. All right. Next, I think Phoenix Suns. Maybe a player away. I like TJ Warren a lot. ACC player of the year. 6'8", big frame. But they need another low post scorer if you're going to win. I always say that in this league. That's been my problem with OKC, but we'll get there. 8, Memphis Grizzlies. We talked about the grindhouse, playing that side out. Let's not forget, Marcus Gasol got hurt last year. Missed a few amount of games.
They had the third best record in the West when he was on the
So
floor.
when he's on the floor, I think they'll be competitive enough. Getting Vince Carter, I know you're saying help Vince Carter, but he still plays solid. Develop a jump shot, much like Kobe Bryant has done, to be a perimeter-oriented player. Mike Conley, most underrated player in the league, in my opinion, and he's just excellent on that team.
Don't forget about Tony Allen. That's a
Tony
lockdown
Allen can
defender.
play a lot of defense,
Lockdown
so I think
defender.
they've done. And Banner Udrich, back on point guard as well,
Yep.
so still having a lot of depth there. 7, Portland. Portland, I think they've made great strides this offseason. Getting Steve Blake, getting Chris Kaman, still having Thomas Robinson, Will Barton off the bench, but Damian Lillard and LaMarcus Aldridge. You pretty much know who's going to be that third guy. We don't know. Batum's excellent. Wes Matthews pretty solid, but who's going to be that extra guy? Robin Lopez played good minutes last year as well. 6, the Houston Rockets. They don't play much defense. Like you said, with Portland, it's James Harden and Dwight Howard a bust. Is Dwight Howard going to take that next step in the post game? Reports are he's been working hard on it. Even is he fully healthy? Is he ready to take the next step? No Chandler Parsons, but I think Kevin McHale will do a little magic, develop somebody that can shoot and go from there. Mavericks at number 5. Love the Mavericks team a lot. People don't talk about Jameer Nelson. You have Raymond Felton. I know you say Raymond Felton, but that platoon point guard under Rick Carlisle, who's one of the most underrated coaches in NBA history, got Dallas to a championship. They have Monte Ellis, who I don't know if he'll ever make an All-Star team, but he's really good. Derek is still Derek. Like you say, it took less money to bring in talent. Tyson Chandler, that rim defender. Without Tyson Chandler, they don't win that championship. I know you talk about the great run of Derek Nowitzki.
Yeah.
Without Tyson Chandler, they don't win that
And he's
championship.
going to be rejuvenated being back there.
And just think about him catching alley-oops from Jameer Nelson. And Chandler Parsons, he can score 20 points a game
Yep.
and on any given night create his own shot and knock down open shots. 4, Golden State Warriors. No about best backcourt in the NBA. Best shooting backcourt, in my opinion, in NBA history. We talk about Steph Curry, shoot from anywhere. Klay Thompson can shoot from anywhere. Defend anybody. 6'7". That's why Minnesota won him so bad for Kevin Love. You look at Harrison Barnes, Andre Iguodala, David Lee, WCW, they call him the white Chris Webber. He does it all. Rebound, score. He can shoot. I would like to see him with Kevin Love, but we all know where he's at. Number 3, Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, 2 things happened last year that helped out these teams, and it may sound crazy. Chris Paul getting injured and Kevin Durant getting injured. Russell Westbrook getting injured because it helped Durant become the MVP. And without Kevin Durant, I think Russell Westbrook will take the next step. He'll be able to average, probably be leading scorer in the league. You look up, he'll be one of the top 3, 4
He'll
scorers.
definitely be leading shots.
And he's definitely chomping at the bit for this.
I don't know. Melo's still out there, so we're going to let that be seen.
But as far as talent-wise, Russell
to
Westbrook,
take shots from.
one of the most athletic point guards in NBA history, he's chomping at the bit. Serge Ibaka, can he be that low post presence? I said the Thunder won the championship. They have to have a low post scorer. They don't have it, but I'd like to see him get Paul Gasol maybe. They don't have it. Spurs go. We know what they're going to be. Bellinelli, Ginobili, the big 3. Tony Parker's unguardable. Tim Duncan's still good. Took less money again. Surprised he came back, though, to go out right to the sunset. Kyle Anderson, great pickup. Boris Diaw rejuvenated his career. Greg Popovich, best coach in the NBA, probably next to Doc Rivers. 2 best coaches. And I think they're going to rest some guys even when everyone's watching on national TV. But they don't care. They're going to be ready for the long run. Number 1, I love the Clippers this year. I think it's Chris Paul's year. He got hurt last year. He missed a lot of games. JJ Redick got hurt last year. The question is going to be, is Matt Barnes that consistent small forward for him? He's been 3 for 30-something this preseason. He's been horrible. Doc Rivers has even come out and said it's a problem.
He said it's
But
not
I think
just a
Turkoglu
preseason.
has shown positive strides. Maybe he can be that guy to come in late game situations,
How old
much
is
like
he
he did in
now?
Orlando. But he can still shoot. And no matter how old you get, you can always shoot. Look at
looks
Reggie Miller.
150
Look at some of those guys. I mean,
Still versatile.
still very versatile and 6'8", 6'10". So
He was
I mean,
key to the Magic being where they were a couple years ago when they went to the
and
finals.
then you look at Spencer Hawes, Blake Griffin, top 5 player in the NBA last year. Just looking at his numbers wise, MVP consideration. I think having Chris Paul is only going to help him. Lob City, they don't like being called that, but they're going to throw a lot of those. I don't think they'll win 67, but I do think they'll win about 65. They have went up on wins every year. They get about 63 to 65. So that being said, who plays in the Western Conference Finals and who wins and represents the Western Finals?
Well, the two teams that'll make the Western Conference Finals are the Spurs and the Oklahoma City Thunder again. I think the Clippers just won't have what it takes once Kevin Durant gets going and gets healthy to knock off OKC. So the Clippers will fall just short. But I think the Spurs will again win the West and get back to the finals for the for the third straight year, actually. And I just think there's no way to stop them. They're 10 deep. All of them shoot. All of them pass the ball. And all of them defend. So it's hard to really beat them in the West.
Chris?
I have the Thunder as well, but I have the Memphis Grizzlies going to the conference finals. They are one team that gives the Spurs problems. Year Spurs were an 8 seed, Grizzlies win in, or the year Spurs were 1 seed, Grizzlies went in as the 8 seed and beat them. And then a lot of people think of the series in the Western Conference Finals a couple years ago when the Spurs swept them. 2 of those games were overtime games. Grizzlies, like I said, the grindhouse, and talk about low post presence. They have 2 of them. They defend. Offensively, they have struggles at times, but when things are running through Marcus Gasol and things are running smoothly with Mike Conley out there, the grindhouse is a tough place to play. I think the Grizzlies beat the Thunder and are representing the Western Conference in the finals.
Shout out to Zach Randolph getting his money. Pay the man. It's bad.
I have the Clippers and OKC in the Western Conference Finals. And I have OKC winning in 7 games and going to the NBA Finals.
All right.
What's going on?
It's tough, but I think we'll go Spurs Thunder. I think Spurs gonna get back there, championship pedigree. They know what it takes. The Thunder, I think actually with Durant being out, it's gonna help Westbrook turn up a lot more. But other players are gonna step up as well. So I think we'll get them there, but I think the Spurs gonna take it though. Back to finals.
Personally, with me, I think Chris Paul finally gets to the conference finals. Do I think he's going to win? No. Because the Spurs, probably take, I think they'll go 6. Spurs are just a better team, and they're a matchup problem. They can spread them out. They can make the bigs guard the big men on the perimeter. I think the Spurs, Greg Popovich, they'll have something for them. I think the Spurs get them in 6. So that'll set up a finals of whatever everyone wants to see, right? Cavs, Spurs. So now we have our teams. Who wins the NBA Finals?
NBA Finals, the repeat champion San Antonio Spurs again this year. I don't think Cleveland will have the chemistry necessary to stop the chemistry that the Spurs have. LeBron and Kyrie and Kevin Love definitely have the talent advantage. But the same could be said for Miami last year. So I just think there's really no way to stop the Spurs. And if they don't win, it's pretty much their fault.
Well, I have the Spurs and Bulls finals actually. I think it's D Rose's year, gets to the finals. However, I think the Spurs just have that pedigree, know what it takes. The Spurs take it again.
I have LeBron James and the Cavaliers beating Kevin Durant and the Oklahoma City Thunder in 7 games to win his 3rd NBA championship.
I have the Cleveland Cavaliers beating the Memphis Grizzlies.
Love your Grizzlies.
We all but
Grizzlies.
they are built for the playoffs. I'll tell you that all day long. They're built for the playoffs. Exactly. The Grizzlies, they almost beat Oklahoma City last year. If it wasn't for Zach Randolph throwing a punch at somebody for no reason, they probably would have beat the Thunder. So I have Cleveland winning that one in 6, just because I don't think Tony Allen's big enough to defend LeBron. Otherwise, I might pick Memphis to win it all.
I personally think Cleveland gets their first major sports championship in over 60-plus years. Y'all remember the drive, the fumble? They get it done. LeBron James, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Love beat San Antonio Spurs in 7 games. The Cavaliers will get the home court to have the cue. We all know it rocks on the best home court, especially when the Broncos have powered up. Can't wait to see that back again. But wearing number 23, I think he brings it back to Cleveland, finishes the job. I think the Spurs are going to have trouble defending these guys. Spurs are a little older. I think the Cleveland will be able to get on a run and get it in 7.
Have we ever seen a more focused LeBron James than the one this year? I mean, he doesn't even like when this team gets called a big 3. He said, we got 15 guys here. Now
He's smart. He's been here before. He knows what
he learned
he
from
learned
the
a lot.
Miami situation.
Yeah, I think he's as focused as ever.
I don't know. I don't know if he's that focused. I just feel like he's taking the pressure off these young guys because he doesn't want to have the pressure on his shoulders how it was in Miami because, he did fail us in my favorite player, Dwayne Wade, a couple times. But that's another story for another day.
All right, so that's a good look at the West and the West Conference Finals.